Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back inside The Lock Shop in the slowest week in sports history. With that being said, back-to-back winners on the Lock Shop play of the day. So that's nice. I got to scramble around and figure something out for today, but that'll be on Coolbet Socials a little bit later on today. Dusty and Huss back with you again. We're going to get into the Scottish Open, dabble in the Barbasol a little bit as well. And, of course, tomorrow we'll be setting up another week in the Canadian Football League, which will be exciting as well. And every week, every episode we do brings us this much closer to kick off on the National Football League season, which is when everybody loves betting. So, Huss, summer's moving along okay, though, buddy. I'm all right with that, especially with back-to-back golf winners for the Lock Shop.
Listen, can we just start this off with the Sepp Straka Appreciation Society? 50-1 last week.
Are you kidding me?
I was due, and I tell you what, and maybe we should bring in Pat for this because I know he was watching.
Yeah,
he
we
was
can get
watching
him.
this at all.
Let me bring him in right now. Boom, there we
Listen,
go.
P. Greggy, he went out in 28. He started off the day 4 shots back, and there's a bunch of guys in between him. He goes out in 28, pars 10, then birdies 11, 12, 13, and 14. And we were just on 59 watch. I mean, legitimately 58 watch at the moment. Now, he sort of pars the way in. I'm thinking, like, the crazy thing was the leaders were just making the turn. I mean, there was a ton of golf left to play. And then he put it in the drink on 18.
Man.
And if you had seen me at that point, the look on my face, I'm like, why are you doing this to me? The gambling gods are God. But then Brendan Todd had that 3-putt on, was it 16, I think? And at that point, I sort of felt a little comfortable. But yes, Sepp Straka, 50-1. How about them apples, Pat Greggy?
What an unbelievable bet. And it was kind of like a little throw-in at the end for you as well. You're like, oh yeah, also this little nugget right here, 50-1 banger. I had way too much on my card already to bet it because I ended up adding Cam Young and Hadwin you talked me into. What a bad bet that was. But I ended up betting on top 20, which was absolutely no sweat whatsoever. And let's be honest, even when he put it in the drink, he was so well ahead. You felt like, okay, you're kind of, fixing your collar a little bit, but there really was never a doubt. What an unbelievable round from him. And like now he's put himself probably into the conversation for this Ryder Cup team.
Absolutely.
You got to think so, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, I know it's the John Deere. I know it wasn't like going head to head with the best in the world.
But still.
But I mean, if you're a captain and you see a guy roll out a 62 in the final round to win a PGA Tour event, you're going to get some consideration. And the thing is, he has played well. Like I mentioned, like he had a 7th recently in the PGA Championship, I believe. I mean, he has played well at times. He's also had some stinker tournaments and missed a couple cuts. But again, if you're looking to get in on it, anyways, it was great. We've really sort of hit our stride here with the golf picks right now. And perfect time to do it, fellas, because we got 2 tournaments this week to make some sprinkles on. And then next week, one final shot at becoming a major champion.
I just wanted to say, like, we've had over a dozen golf winners the last couple of years with the Lock Shop, which is good. But Huss, was 50-1 our longest shot that we hit? I'm trying to think. I know we've hit some other deep ones, but 50-1, that might be our biggest hit.
The biggest one ever was KH Lee last year, 100-1.
Oh, that's right. We did hit KH.
And again, the only reason that one isn't more legendary is because it, like this one, was a bit of a throw-in at the end.
Yeah.
And he did repeat in that tournament. The tournament escapes me. But I think I only had like $5 on it or something like that, as opposed to normally betting considerably more on these ones. But I figured I got to back all of my bets. And then he went and did it. But yeah, 50-1. And to be honest with you, I mean, if you just look at the numbers of all of the winners over the last 2 years, I mean, most of the winners, I'd say, Pat, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, have sort of been in the 15 to 16 to 1 to 28 to 1. I mean, that's sort of been the sweet spot for a lot of the wins. And every now and then you'll get a chalkier favorite. But I mean, it's been a while since there's been a 50 to 1 winner, I think, on the PGA Tour, I guess is my point.
Yeah, it certainly has. And I think I kind of started off the show saying, like, this is the type of tournament where you probably should look down the board. And then I proceeded to say, but I like this guy, and this guy who are closer to about 15 to 16 to 1. But no, unbelievable. And I think the thing that makes this even more impressive is that this should have been dead to right after round 1. He was like T1000. He was like +2, I think. He shot a 73 in round 1.
And then started getting
63,
going,
65, and then that's 62. So unbelievably impressive. And yeah, I think this has got to be the longest shot winner in quite some time. But KH Lee, I know you're mentioning the tournament that he dominates is the Byron Nelson.
Yes.
One in 21 and 22. And yeah, I think that was about 51 to 1 or something. But again, I think that kind of leads into this, and maybe I'll ask you guys the question for once here. Where are you guys? Because this is a tricky one. You guys mentioned it. We have a major next week. Yeah. This isn't an elevated event, but 8 of the
it's a nice field, though, buddy.
10, like it's a really good field, and usually it's like these primers, so to say. Players obviously want to play. They want to get there. They want to, prime up for these majors, but they're all headed over to across the pond for the most part. And they're getting ready to play links style golf. This course here, it kind of, for me, it's like normally the week before, I'm not really looking at some of the top guys, but I think a lot of the top guys are going to be motivated. I didn't go with one of the top guys, but I was really tempted not to just act like this is a major, because the field is essentially a major, and we've got a major next week.
Yeah, it's I mean, I remember the Scottish Open. Often you'll see guys, play this like it's the Open Championship. Phil won it a few years ago, and he had a nice run at the Open Championship. To me, we may as well get right into it, Dusty, and start off with the Scottish Open.
Yeah.
The 2 guys that are at the top of my card, one is Ricky Fowler. And Ricky was 19 to 1 a day ago or so. I see he's 20 to 1 right now. And I've had this feeling about Ricky all year long that with how well he's been playing, that he was going to get back into the winner's circle at a certain point. And then I think he was going to be even more dangerous for the rest of the way. Now, we'll see what happens in the Open. But considering this is not quite the stakes aren't as high, obviously, as the major championship. Ricky's coming off a win and a week of jet setting with JT and Spieth at Wimbledon and hanging around London with their wives and taking great Instagram pictures. I could sort of see Ricky coming into this tournament. With his game really does suit links golf very, very well. Majestic short game. Need to be able to putt. He can certainly do that. I'm just gonna kind of keep riding Ricky for a little bit, and I really think that while I'm not sure whether I'm gonna have him next week, I think at 20 to 1 in the mix with a lot of these top guys, he deserves to be there. And I almost like his chances, considering what he's just recently done, better than a lot of the other guys that might take a little bit more to get used to the links golf. The guy that I think I like the most, though, that I got at 25 to 1. That I see, I'm not alone because he's now at 20 to 1, is Tyrrell Hatton.
He's moved. Yeah, I'm on him too, Huss. He's one of my 3 guys too.
So am I. I'm on him too. That might be bad news, though.
Who knows? You know what? Locked up history. Normally when Dusty and I are both on something, there's been some good karma. So
when Dusty and Huss agree, it's a pick for me.
Yeah.
And Rick, you and I, Dusty, we're on Ricky together.
We were on Ricky a couple weeks ago too. Yeah.
So maybe you're right. Maybe synergy is good.
Yeah.
I like it. But listen, Hatton's game and Hatton all year long has been a guy that has been contending. Listen, he is prone to the odd blow up. I think his mental game is way better than he was before. I think he just sort of gets himself now, and he'll yell something, he'll toss a club, whatever, he can get back to it. But to me, when you think about the iron play, the short game, the knowledge of these tracks, I think there's a bit of an advantage for a guy like Hatton as opposed to other guys in that same window. Obviously, I just mentioned Ricky, and I'm kind of high on him, but as opposed to a Vic Hovland, even a Tommy Fleetwood or Spieth or Fitz or a Xander Schauffele right now. So you guys can maybe expand on it, but I really think Tyrrell Hatton is a pick for this week. And as they say, I'm glad I hit the odds early because I saw that 25 and I thought, I don't think that's going to hang around very long. And then the other pick that I have is a little bit of a homer pick, but as they say, the magic number last week was 50. So why not 50 on our homeboy, Corey Connors? Corey Connors, to me, is a similar player to a guy like a Hatton. I mean, absolutely pristine ball striker, which I think you really need to have. I think he's going to be able to get himself into good positions. The big question is, can he putt? If he can putt, he can contend. I'll take him at 50-1.
Yeah, I'm going to Hatton there. Again, I'm on him as well. And again, a lot of times when I'm looking at my picks, I decide it's course history or similar course history, which he not necessarily has here, but he's a guy that grew up playing links golf. He was on the European Tour. He has a couple of wins on link style courses, and he's finished in the top 10 twice in the last 6 years at the Open. So we know he plays well in link style golf courses. I really like him at 20-1. Tommy Fleetwood. I know he's my guy.
Tommy Fleetwood's your guy.
But this isn't just like me picking my guy blindly and just going with it. Like, I think we have, again, course history. This is a guy that has played well at the Scottish Open. He finished as a runner-up at Renaissance Club back in 2020, lost to Aaron Ray, finished T4 last year. But he has been really solid this season, especially in the last 10 events. Been inside of the top 5 4 times, including that crazy playoff losing to Nick Taylor at the Canadian Open. He ranks 7th on the PGA Tour in stroke gained, tee to green, and around the green. He's in the top 20 in both of those as well. I believe in the top 10, actually. And the big thing about Tommy Ladd, he can't win on the PGA Tour. Well, this is a co-sanctioned event. It is also a DP Tour event. So he has 6 wins on the DP World Tour. I like Tommy at 22-1. I also, even if he kind of blows up here and doesn't have a great round, I kind of almost would rather that, because if he has a bad showing here, I wouldn't be surprised if his number drops, and then I can bet him next week to win the Open Championship next week. So that's always an option there. Me, I know, Huss, I'm sorry, man, might be kind of coming on your turf here with your guy Minwoo, but I really like him in this spot. He's in great form as late. He finished T9 at the Travelers in his last start. And then, of course, he had that T5 finish at the US Open. And he's finished T15 at the British Masters just 2 weeks ago as well. So he's been in great form. He won this tournament.
Won this in 2021, yeah.
2021, right? Yeah. But keep in mind, that wasn't a co-sanctioned event back then. So the field wasn't nearly as loaded. But he's familiar with this course. He's played here well before. So I like him there. And then, of course, obviously, Ludwig Aberg. I can't get off him. He's 50-1. That number probably should be better than that, to be quite honest. But I'm not getting off him. He looked great last week. He was that one bad round away from possibly winning or being right there. That Saturday round really hurt him. I'm hoping he can put a full round here, and I think he's going to be in the mix. To kind of hedge my bet there, I'm going to go with him to finish in the top 20 as well. So I really like those for my picks there. Huss, I'm really tempted on Corey Connors 50-1. The recent form kind of scares me, but I think if he could putt, I think this is a course that certainly can play well to his strengths. It's just the putting and the recent form kind of scares me. But at 50-1, like, you look at the other golfers that are priced at 50-1, he should be better there. Like, he should be much higher. I think it's just the fact that we haven't seen Corey Connors. The ball striking's been there. It's just the putting and the short game that seemed to kind of bite him. And of course, you're going to need that. But we've seen him so successful once his putter kind of gets going.
I mean, you guys hit on. I'm on my 3 guys. I got 3 guys. You guys are going to hate my 3rd guy because he's my top guy. But Minwoo Lee, I'm on. Patty, you made a good case for him. Haas, I told you I was on Terrell Hatton as well. And yeah, he went from 25 to 21. I think Patty mentioned that. But I'm sorry, but I'm putting Patrick Cantlay on my card at 16 to 1 this week. And part of it is I feel like he should be in the 12 range. Like you've got Rory and you've got Scheffler kind of in that top level that at what plus what's Scheffler at 875 or something like that.
Scheffler's 7. And actually, as we've been doing this, if anyone's been waiting for a better number,
15 to 1 like a little while ago, now he's 16 to 1. So
yeah, and Rory just went from 10 to 11.
Yeah.
As we've been doing this right now. So
yeah, and Cantlay was at 15 40 minutes ago, and he's at 16 right now. I look, since September 1st, he's finished outside the top 20 3 times. Since September 1st, it's July. Like he is consistently in the top 10. He's consistently in the top 5. And him at 16 to 1 to me is better than even Scheffler at 7 to 1 or whatever it's at right now. So don't like the guy, hate the way he plays, understand the negativity around him. But at the same time, he hasn't played since the Genesis, which is 3 weeks ago. He's going to come in rested. He was T4 there. And yeah, I feel like he ruins this for everything else we've talked about. It's going to be like, shit, Patrick Cantlay spoiled the party. And I'm going to be like, well, at least I got the invite. So I'm going to get on Cantlay and then Hatton and Minwoo Lee as Patty laid out as well. So what else we got, Pat? What else? Oh, go ahead.
I'm surprised Cantlay is lower than Xander, to be honest with you. Like
Xander won this thing last year, right? He's at 18. Yeah.
That was a little like maybe the bookies know something that we don't, and you're jumping on it right now with that number. It sort of strikes me like the Cantlay number was really low, and sometimes that makes me avoid betting it because I don't think it's good value. Sort of thought the same thing about Minwoo. I was shocked that he was 33, but then when you think that he's won the event before and he's been playing very well, it sort of makes sense. But I mean, Cantlay, hey, he's got the game. Doesn't have a lot of public support, but he certainly has the game. What's cooking? You got any specials for the Scottish?
Yeah, I've definitely got some other specials. Before I get into that, though, one more placing bet for me. Rasmus Højgaard, the Danish, picking up a big victory at his home tournament last week. I think overcame like a 6-stroke deficit. But this is another guy like Ludvig Aberg, which I think Aberg's probably already wrapped up. I shouldn't say already wrapped up, but it's pretty, he'd have to really fall apart, I think, for him not to make this Ryder Cup team. Well, I think Højgaard is battling for one of those, 11th or 12th spot if they decide to go with the youth movement. So I like him here to finish in the top 20. Believe it's at plus 260. He's played really well on the DP World Tour. So I like him. And I actually would even consider sprinkling on him to win this thing, but that's my last placing bet there. In terms of exclusives, we got a ton up for the Barbasol and the Scottish Opens, which again, maybe after this we want to hit some Barbasol bets, but my Greggy Golf special, Hovland, Hatton, Fleetwood, and Aberg, each to make the cut at plus 260. Obviously, didn't talk about Hovland. I don't want to bet him here because I have an outright, which was like 33 to 1 for him. I bet it like 2-3 months ago for him to win the Open. So I don't want to mush him, have him win this week and not have him win next week. So stayed away there. We talked about Fleetwood, Hatton, and Aberg already. So those guys all to make the cut at plus 250. Not the juiciest number that we're used to seeing for the Greggy Golf special. But this one, kind of like when you're struggling with your putter, you just got to hear one go in. So I went with a cut special instead of a top 20 or a top 10 that I've done the last few times.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good ones up there. There's 7 different ones, including one for the Barbasol. Maybe this is a good little segue over to the Barbasol. A couple Canadians, Taylor Pendrith and our own homeboy from here in Winnipeg, Aaron Cockrell. And Cockrell's normally playing on the DP Tour. He's in the Barbasol this week, plus 135 for them both to make the cut. And if you look at the futures, Coolbet's own Taylor Pendrith's the favorite in this event at 16 to 1. He is a bomber. He certainly has a game that's right there with everybody else in this field. So very short number for him to get his first win, but maybe this is the moment. Anyways, I love that. I'm going to be taking, thanks to Pat for getting Cockrell listed on the cut bets. He's at minus 133 to make the cut. He bogeyed 18 in the second round of the RBC Canadian Open to just miss playing on the weekend. I think he gets it done this week. And I was really looking forward to betting Cam Champ. And in fact, I did bet Cam Champ. And then Cam Champ withdrew from the event. So I'm taking Ash K. Badia at 28-1. Ash K's kind of had some really sneaky good rounds. He's contended at times. I think in a field like this, he's going to feel that he's as good as any of these guys. And he's at 28-1 right now. So I like that number. And I did, supporting our guy, Aaron Cockrell, I did hit him at plus 650 for a top 10 and up minus 133 to make the cut.
I love that Batia bet. I'm on that as well. My other pick, though, for the Barbasol, I'm staying away from Pendrith again. Don't want to mush him as him being the outright favorite, but no doubt he should be in the mix with this field. But Lucas Glover, 22-1. This is the best price that I've seen on the market. I've seen it as low as 18-1 at some other books. So Glover's been on a bit of a heater in his last 4 starts. Finished T6 last week at the John Deere, T4 at the Rocket Mortgage. He missed the cut at the Travelers, but it all started with a pretty solid showing, finishing in the top 20 at the Canadian Open. So he's really, really hot right now with the field. Again, this is maybe where you look down the board to try to pick some value with a little bit of a longer shot. But then again, the top of the board, when those guys are on, they should be significantly better.
They should be. Yeah, I didn't dive into the Barbasol too much myself, but I do like that pick, and I like what Huss laid out as well. We got about 5 minutes here before we got to wrap. We should put together some sort of lock shop partner parlay for the Scottish Open. I mean, we could definitely. I know Hatton's in the Greggy special, but we could definitely get Hatton in there for a top 20 or even a top 10. But Huss, any thoughts on what I know? Listen, I'll say right now, I'll take that bullet. We don't need to have Patrick Cantlay in on anything. So let's build something else. Huss, what do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're all so horny for Hatton.
Yeah.
Why don't we throw him in at top 10?
Okay, I like it.
And then how about we throw Ricky in for a top 20?
Okay.
And then I don't know. Do we want to go Aberg? Do we want to go? The other guys?
Patty and I were both on Min Woo.
Oh, and Min Woo.
Yeah.
Min Woo top 20. Why don't we do that?
Okay, let's do that.
Yep.
Let's do that. So Min Woo Lee top 20, Ricky Fowler top 20, and Terrell Hatton top 10.
Yes, I like it.
Perfect. And that just reminded me, because you talked about Ricky off the top. Not on him this week. Probably will be on him next week. But I've already placed a top 10 bet for him plus 175. Similar to the Scheffler bet that we talked about, him just always being in the top 5. It's been automatic this year. I'm continuing to ride it, especially at plus 175. I thought we were going to get closer to even money on that. So that's probably my favorite bet of the week, to be honest.
And just before we finish up, Open Championship odds are up at Coolbet right now. If you're interested, right now, Rory is the favorite, 8-1. Scheffler, 10-1. Rahm, 14. Brooks and Cam Smith, 16. And then Ricky and Vic, 20. 22 for Spieth, Xander, and Morikawa. Be interesting to see how what happens this week maybe changes that board. Sometimes you'll actually see guys rise a little bit, like once everything gets going and the action comes in on particular golfers. But if you do want to get ahead of the game, put it this way: if you're worried that a guy like Min Woo is going to win this week and that might change your odds, he's 65 right now. Whoever wins the Scottish Open obviously is going to come down a little bit, so you might want to get ahead of the game and check out those Open Championship odds as well. They're all up and ready to go.
Quick note, Cantlay, 25-1, Open Championship. Just saying. I won't be on him next week. I won't be on him next week. As always, Patty, good time catching up with you, buddy.
Thanks a lot, boys. Enjoy the golf and try to find
there we go. That's Pat Gregoire. He's right. Well, I drew the bad week for Lock Shop Play of the Day. Because even like Jake texted me yesterday. Jake from Cool Bet, he goes, "Hey man, if you want to skip tomorrow, you can skip tomorrow. I don't want to force your hand." I was like, "Oh, I'll find a little Scottish Open that we can get in on a Wednesday prior to the tournament beginning." But yeah, it's that quiet week. But then after this, everything gets ramped up. Before you know it, we're talking NHL preseason, so you don't got to worry about that. Yeah.
Well, NHL preseason. Let's talk NFL preseason before we start talking NHL. I'm not ready for hockey just yet.
Well,
the
hockey
hockey
in the CFL too. So
that's quite a bit.
yeah,
I won my first ever CEBL bet on the weekend as well.
good.
Shout out to the
Good.
Sea Bears. And then actually, I couldn't possibly, just with the target score, they were 6-point favorites at home last night. So I went on the other side, and they ended up losing on the last play. It was an unbelievable game, coast to coast on TSN, sold out game here in Winnipeg. Been a real fun season.
It's a fun league, man. That's a really fun league. I went to sat courtside at a Stingers game, and it was good. It came down to the target score was 91, and it was tied at 89 for like 4 possessions. It was awesome. It was really fun.
We had a good time last night. So, anyways, that is up there, and we do have Wimbledon if you want to get on. And but yeah, you can give a little plug for our Lock Shop exclusive for the Scottish Open.
I will.
You bang that out a little later on.
I will do that today. Watch that. That'll pop up on Cool Bet's social accounts. We'll retweet it out as well. Had the winner took the boring under 7.5 in the All-Star game last night. A no sweater. That was never in doubt. That was an easy one the entire night. So that was nice to see.
I couldn't support that pick. It's a good
That's now
pick.
7 of 9 years that it's hit. So
I know. The NL finally won for the first time since 2012. How about that?
Yeah, which is crazy too. So excellent. All right, that's going to do it.
How about my 12-1 a Rosarena
That was good.
Vlad final bet?
That was good.
Man, I still can't believe a Rosarena didn't win.
I know.
Win the final. Like how did Vlad? How the hell did Vlad get that third win? He was so gassed at the end of the second round just to get into the finals, and then he had to go first. To be honest, that was the most incredible part. He deserved to win the way he came back. Rosarena, I thought, had a big advantage, and really,
I thought Rosarena was going to hit 4 bombs in the final 30 seconds, but he just couldn't get in a groove. So congratulations to Vladdy on winning the home run derby. Finally, that's great news. All right, Huss, we'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll do some CFL tomorrow, buddy.
CFL tomorrow, buddy. Have a good one.